this one is you can't turn it off.
Right, it just keeps on going.
It won't turn off. Yeah, turn it. Do that, bro. Yeah. Yeah, see, I noticed that.
Had to get him in before the end of the year. Had to get you in.
No, you know what Melissa said. He was laughing at it.
Oh, you're doing it.
I haven't checked my.
Okay, never mind. I'm doing the view that.
Yeah, I haven't checked my mail
Well,
in a
you
while.
can see this is board view, and like Dwayne will highlight the items that are on in yellow, and follow the meeting with the board. Julio, it's time, isn't it? Okay.
Sing a Christmas song.
You're all not gonna be good.
If I can't be good.
Don't get caught.
Yeah.
You promise you're gonna be good?
So, Jim,
Nobody do
Good evening, and welcome to the December 18th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. We're glad you're here, whether you're joining us in person or whether or not you are joining us, you're watching us tonight. I want to call on Commissioner Charles Evans for the invocation and the pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before we go into the invocation, I would like to begin by introducing the student that we have here tonight to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Micaiah Stallings, whose parents are Corporal and Mrs. Stallings of the Sheriff's Department here. Micaiah is 12 years of age. He attends Goldberry Farms Elementary School. He likes playing drums, and he also would like to be a judge. Master Stallings, he has embodied himself in community service at a young age, and when he was playing the snare drums for TAPS here when we were memorializing the fallen officers here. And he's also very interested in working in his community just as he is in school. And so if you would join me for the invocation, and then I would ask Master Stallings if he would come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we would like to say thank you. Thank you for another day, Lord. We ask that you please lead us and guide us and direct us in our paths as we try to do this work of the citizens here in this county. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'll pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before this young man sit down, he also have with him his three brothers, Caleb, Nathan, and Emmanuel.
Wait, John. Hold on. Come on over here. It's like a ninja course. Come on. You can do this. Man, can you see that? Can you see from back there?
Yeah, but you know, I got the Charles picture.
Okay.
I invited him into the picture. I let Charles into my picture.
Do we have another chair at the other end?
It would be Charles.
As you can,
This is going to be a
as you
long
can tell,
1 year.
I am not the order. I am not the chair of this board. These are the elves. Okay. Our chairman is with his wife, Debbie, at Westminster Church. She is being installed as an elder as we speak. And so that was a conflict, and we thought that was a worthy conflict to have, because we all need prayer and we need religion in our lives.
Hallelujah.
As we go about this meeting, I'm going to call you out of order. We actually get along quite well. But I lost my direction. Now you can believe the chairman practiced me. Is Constance Wood available? Did she come in yet, Constance Woods? All right, fine. First on the agenda is the recognition of the 2017 Cumberland County Agricultural Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. C. Wayne Collier Jr. If Mr. Collier and Lisa Childers would come to the front, and then following this presentation, we will have Zach Dale to join us, and then we'll have both of you to go around and shake hands, all right?
Thank you for this opportunity. Tonight, I'm very excited to present to you Mr. Wayne Collier. He was selected as our 2017 Cumberland County Agricultural Hall of Fame inductee. He is the son of C. Wayne Collier. My elementary school was named C. Wayne Collier. Former superintendent of Cumberland County Schools. His mother, Iva Collier, was also in education. So Wayne comes from a long history of educators, but also from a family of agriculture. Mr. Collier's 450-acre farm has been in the Collier family since 1877. It's in the Linden area. Wayne is a graduate of NC State University. He has a degree in animal science. Wayne worked for the U.S. Postal Service for over 34 years, but today Wayne and his wife, they continue to manage their timberland and raise hay. He also runs a small-scale watermelon operation, which has earned him the title of, get this, the Watermelon King of Northern Cumberland County. Wayne can often be spotted in his iconic 1966 GMC pickup truck loaded with locally grown watermelons. But perhaps one of Wayne's greatest impact has been his impact on agriculture and youth. He is a major supporter of Cumberland County Livestock Association, the Forestry Service, FFA, 4-H, Soil and Water Conservation, and through their youth programs. Wayne was also elected to the office of Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation Supervisor in 2014. He is a past member of Cumberland County Advisory Board, Farm Service Agency Committee, Cumberland County Livestock Association, Cumberland County Farm Bureau, and South River EMC Board of Directors. He may also look familiar because he's a graduate of our Citizens Academy program. As the owner and operator of Indian Ridge Farm in Cumberland County, Wayne's strong dedication to agriculture can be seen through his lifelong commitment to agriculture in our community. Please help me congratulate Mr. Wayne Collier.
Is the Cumberland County Agriculture Hall of Fame Inductee Award, presented to Wayne Collier Jr. Now we've got to have the grip and grin. Come on, Lisa. We gotta put you in the middle. put you in the middle. Thank you. And then if you sit right over there. You're all going to shake hands together.
Okay, the next person we're going to honor is our our Farm Bureau Outstanding Young Farmer, Mr. Zach Dale. Zach is the son of James, who most often know by Rooster, James Rooster and Wanda Dale. He is the brother of J.R. Dale. Zach is a fifth-generation farmer. He is a 2010 graduate of NC State University. He farms with his father and brother, and his mother helps with the family farm payroll and bookkeeping. The family grows tobacco, cucumbers, soybeans, and wheat. Zach's father was named the Outstanding Young Farmer in 1992, and his brother received that award last year. Zach is dedicated to supporting the farm operation and working hard every day. And in his spare time, some farmers get a couple minutes of spare time every once in a while, and he enjoys fishing and spending time with his dog, Levi. Please help me congratulate Mr. Zach Dale.
And I will officially present you with the plaque. 2017 Cumberland County Young Farmer of the Year Award.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't worry, we're slipping in.
Oh, you're freezing.
Don't worry. You can wear Pine Forest green. Come on. Oh. Madam Chair, Ms. Childers failed to recognize Mr. Collier as a Pine Forest graduate also. I didn't know if that just must have slipped her mind. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next, we'll have the public comment period. Mrs. Manager.
Yes, ma'am. The public comment period shall last no longer than 15 minutes. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make remarks. No time may be yielded to another speaker. We ask that speakers will address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks by stating their name and their address. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there the 3 speakers?
Yes, ma'am. We have 3 speakers this evening. Our first speaker is Mr. Tom Clark.
Mr. Clark.
I always have to follow something so happy.
It's Christmas.
That's all right. You're not so bad yourself. Come on.
And Mr. Adams, you better stay on the right side of the law because your picture's everywhere.
That's a good point. And you did it to yourself.
But my name is Tom Clark. I live at 4643 Goldsboro Road, Wade, North Carolina. And as you always know, I'm here to speak about the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. And one thing I'd like to speak about tonight, and I have a little packet for the commissioners, is from the onset of this project, they've always told us that it would not affect our property values. Well, the project's getting far enough along now that in Virginia, this is Virginia, not North Carolina, the county offices up there, it's not a group of people, it's not a environmental group. This is a county office just like our tax office. And I'd like to read you just a couple comments from a local paper there to back up what I'm trying to say tonight. It says, Highland County, and this comes from the Recorder. It's a community paper from Highland County. It says, Highland County Reassessment Office records show an average of 36% decline in land values along Valley Center Road within a half mile of the proposed pipeline center line. 12 tax parcels show decreases ranging from 10 to 67%. 10 to 67% decrease now, with deeper devaluations closer to the center line. 6 of those parcels fell 29% or more. And what I'm trying to say is, this is something that Cumberland County is going to have coming to our county. And the Atlantic Coast Pipeline wants to talk about and project the tax that they're bringing, the money they're bringing in. But I just asked the commissioners tonight to study this thing, and like they say, every pancake's got 2 sides. And just make sure it's not going to harm us. But if our tax values are going down, it's harming the county. And another little fact here I have from the same newspaper, it says, FERC and ACP, based on their claim that property values would not fall on faulty data. They cherry-picked energy industry studies without scientific merit, where properties close to pipelines were compared to other properties close to pipelines. Almost all the studies were located in urban or suburban areas where a natural gas pipeline would go virtually unnoticed. Well, anybody that's drove through Cumberland County would have to say it's one of the prettiest places in the world. And when you have a 50 to 75 foot scar in our county, that's just a disgrace. Not just that alone, but the danger that it brings. I'm pretty sure that the astronauts, when they went up on the Challenger, they were told that it's safe, it's guaranteed. But look where the Challenger is at and where they're at.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Our next speaker is Chief District Court Judge Robert Steele.
Madam Acting Chair, board members, first of all, let me thank you. My name is Robert Steele. My address is 117 Dick Street. My telephone number is 475-3012. I simply wanted to appear before you all and thank you for your efforts to cooperate with those of us in the judiciary on some certain facilities efforts we're making to better serve our citizens. The county staff has been extraordinary from top to bottom in helping us. I want you to know how appreciative we are. Also, quickly, I wanted to touch upon a few other initiatives that we've got going on. I could have put it in a letter, and if you choose in the future, I will. But I think it important to appear before you so that you understand the accessibility that we in the judiciary should have in working with you as our county partners and also with other city entities that we're tied to here in our court system. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we have a volunteer DA, volunteer public defender, Mr. Wayne Cannon, who has worked diligently in your jail mental health program for a number of years. We're volunteering our time. We're identifying folks that have mild to severe mental health issues. We're moving them within our jails. One example is fella, nominal offenses, trespass, shoplifting, had been in jail for 7 weeks. That's taxpayer money, and we're accountable to the taxpayers. So as judges, we're going to do our best to ramp up with the cooperation of the DA, the Sheriff's Office, and others, moving cases where we can. Another impact that we significantly, as tax dollars are expended, is our child welfare system. A year ago, I partnered with your DSS director. We brought in Public Consulting Group. They'd done a statewide study on child welfare systems. They have now completed a study of our own system here. We're going to undertake to make changes. It's somewhat of a unnerving thing as your chief, because essentially you are rolling back the covers and you're bearing all to say, how can we make improvements? But it's time, And many of you, I know, are committed to this effort, as I know Brenda is. And so we're looking forward to helping again with tax dollars and getting better efficiencies in how they're spent. As an example, 2012, we had 500 kids in DSS custody. Right now, as Glenn is apt to share with us, 900 generally. So just in a short period of time, we incurred a significant number of kids that come in, and they cost a lot of money. But not that that's the end-all in considerations. What's best for them is what should be our goal. Last, e-filings in domestic violence cases. Your CARE Domestic Violence Center receives a grant of about $279,000 a year. I believe you may match it either straight up or through DSS. Electronic filing will allow someone to file for a protective order and not even come to the courthouse. It has been enacted in several other counties. It's coming here. So I just wanted to share with you those items. I thank you for your assistance in us. I'm here to say I am looking forward to working with each of you and the other municipal entities. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, our Chief District Court Judge. And I just see now the top of his head. Ed, I thought you left us. I want to recognize former county commissioner, longtime county commissioner, Ed Melvin. We call ourselves cousins because I'm Jeanette Melvin Counsel. Wave your hand, Ed. Where are you? I see you right there. Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Our last speaker is Mr.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
Our last speaker is Mr. Jose Ray.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Hosea M. Ray, Colonel retired, United States Army. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the citizens of Cumberland County, Bladen County, and all those other counties in southeastern North Carolina affected by this Gen X and other toxic chemicals affecting our state. It's affecting the citizens of these counties, and this includes Cumberland County, not only in the area south of here, but in a thing in the Army we call lessons learned. Just recently in West Virginia, they settled that case for over $700 million against the same company that operates here in North Carolina, Chemours. This contamination down there is not going to go away. The possibility it might be too late. It's affecting citizens, families, and especially children, and maybe many generations to come. I live here in Fayetteville, Cumberland County. I've lived here all my life, 69 years. I'm also a property owner in Bladen County. 5 miles on the east side of the river of Ground Zero at the Chemours plant. In West Virginia, that contamination reached out 20 to 30 miles or more in all a complete radius. Tonight, you happen to be sitting right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, downtown. You're in that 20, 25-mile radius. If that's the case, as we pursue what's going on down there. The clock's ticking, and it's not going to stop. This is a classic case with Chemours supposedly working with the state of North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality of doing the testing. They're only testing a mile, mile and a half. I think they're working about 2 miles right now. It's very slow. It's been 6 months. This is a classic case of the fox guarding the hen house. State of North Carolina or the counties involved need to take control of this testing and start moving out here and finding out where this is at, both in air emissions and water contamination. I employ the elected officials to aggressively attack this issue on behalf of the citizens of southeastern North Carolina and all other affected areas. We have no idea what. I appreciate your time, and thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
There are no further speakers.
All right, then we'll close the public comment period. For the next item,
Item number 1 on the agenda is approval of the agenda. And Madam Chair, we have no changes this evening.
So moved.
it's been moved and seconded that we will approve the agenda. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, thank you.
Item number 2 on the agenda are our presentations. Our first one is a report regarding the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Youth Summit. And Commissioners, I'd like to introduce our youth representative, Mr. DeJuan Green. And I think Ms. Childers is going to step forward and provide us some information.
Yes, but he's going to join her at the podium. Thank you.
A little bit nervous tonight.
Thank
Dwayne
you.
attended the 7th Annual North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Youth Summit. Make me feel short. Which was held in Durham, North Carolina. North Carolina Cooperative Extension is partnering with NCACC on this initiative to help increase youth involvement in county government. And so Dwayne and several other delegates from across North Carolina were able to attend sessions, educational sessions, where they can learn a better understanding of all the things that county government provides. So on behalf of 4-H and North Carolina 4-H, we want to thank you for allowing this to continue. It's a great opportunity for these young people. And so tonight we're going to let Dwayne go around and introduce himself and shake your hand. Dwayne is actually a 10th grader at Trinity Christian Academy. So thank you for being here, Dwayne, and we'll let you go around.
Okay. Dwayne, we need to put your pause in the middle for a picture.
It was the turn on this way.
I am going to. Mr. Adams is out of order.
That's my light on too, man.
Wait a minute, Dave, you got to turn around.
John, come on over here.
Come on down here. Come on down here.
Oh, we're going to do it all right here.
We're going to do it all right here.
All right, do it.
Okay.
Right. No, look at all right.
Vice Chairman, I forgot to mention that Dwayne's mother is also in the audience today, Maria Green. So thank her also for being here.
Would you stand, please? Thank you.
Thank you again for the
I got my
opportunity.
light on though, man.
I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, I will tell you that Dwayne and I shared breakfast together. That's what we were actually down here laughing at and having a picture taken. But I want his mother to know and the citizens of Cumberland County to know that he represented us extremely well. I think was Sally at the table and Madam Manager, and he did an excellent job representing Cumberland County, Trinity, and his parents. And so thank you. We enjoyed him. We had a wonderful morning together. And thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you. Ms. Cannon?
Yes, ma'am. Our next presentation is of the fiscal year 2017 annual audit. Tonight, we will have April Adams, who's a partner with Cherry Beckert, and our finance director, Mrs. Evans.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. As the County Manager stated, this evening, April Adams, engagement partner with Cherry Beckert, will be presenting the fiscal year 2017 audit results. Once April has shared the results, I will present a few slides highlighting key results of the general fund. And for the audience, the comprehensive annual financial statement is now posted on the county's website. April? One more, right?
So, good evening, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. I want to make sure you could hear me. I thought you were saying I can't hear you. Good evening. So the generally accepted auditing standards require that the auditor provide an opinion on whether the financial statements are presented fairly. This slide represents the summary of those results. The county received an unmodified or clean opinion. They actually received 4 of those as a result of the audit, and I'm going to go through and describe what each one of those are. But an unmodified or clean opinion, this is the highest level of assurance that we can give you as a CPA that your financial statements are fairly stated. So that's the best results that you can get. The report and the opinion can be found on pages B1 through B3 of that CAFR that you received, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. When performing an audit of a government entity, we're required to do your audit under another set of standards. Those are known as the government auditing standards. These additional standards require that we issue a report on the compliance and internal control over financial reporting. So that's the second opinion that we gave. The purpose of this report is to describe the scope and the results of that testing and not to provide an opinion on the internal control over financial reporting or on the compliance. This report is under the compliance of the uniform guidance. We performed a single audit of the federal and state grant expenditures, and that report can be found in the last section of the CAFR. The auditor is required to express an opinion on whether the government complied with the laws and the regulations and provisions of contracts or grant agreements that could have a direct and material effect on each major federal program or state program. So those were all unmodified and clean opinions on all those grant opinions. In addition to the CAFR, we provided you with one letter. This letter is known as the Statement of Auditing Standards number 14. It's the communication with the governing boards. The letter is required by the standards to be provided to you, and it discusses several things. One, it discusses what our firm's responsibility is as your auditor, things like maintaining our independence. It also talks about the significant accounting policies or changes that might have occurred during the course of the year. The most significant that's noted in that letter is that you implemented a new GASB standard in the current year. And then finally, it also talks about what the accounting estimates are in your financial statements, things like your pension plan obligations, your post-benefit obligations. So I would just would encourage you to take a look at that letter at your convenience. And finally, I'd just like to thank the county for all their cooperation throughout the audit. We asked for a significant amount of information, and it's quite taxing on top of their normal day jobs. So we just want to say thank you for that.
The current slide is a summary of the general fund. It shows the original and final budget, actual balances, and the variance between the final budget and actual revenue and expenditures. Details of this can be found on page E5 within the fund financial statements section. As you can see, highlighted in yellow, the general fund's revenue and other financing sources exceeded expenditures and other financing uses by $9.59 million. In other words, there was a gain. This gain, when applied to the beginning restated fund balance of $114.1 million, results in an ending fund balance of $123.7 million, highlighted in green. This slide displays the 5 different categories of fund balance that make up total fund balance of $108.8 million. As noted on the slide, this amount does not include the county school fund. Fund balance categories include non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned. The unassigned amount represents 14.83% of fiscal year 2017's expenditures. Thank you. A total amount of approximately $30.6 million has been assigned, and approximately $47 million is unassigned. The fiscal year 2017 general fund actual revenue summary breakdown is shown here by revenue category. Ad valorem taxes represent well over half of the total general fund revenues. The fiscal year 2017 general fund actual expenditure fund summary is shown on this slide. Education has the highest representation of general fund expenditures, followed by social services and public safety. The top three make up over 2/3 of general fund expenditures. I would like to recognize the finance staff who put many hours into completing the audit and the report. This evening we have Bob Tucker and Yvonne Mendez with us in the audience. In addition, other major contributors were Todd Hathaway, Kelly Autry, and Crystal Mize, all from the finance department, as well as internal auditors Tammy Gillis and Renee Gleaton. Linda Suggs and her team from Cherry Becker worked very closely with our staff, and we appreciate having that good relationship. And to the board, finally, we do request your acceptance of the fiscal year 2017 audited comprehensive annual financial report, and April and I will answer any questions you may have.
All right. You recognize Commissioner Bruce.
Just to get it out there, if there's any questions or discussion, I would move that with our thanks, we accept the audited comprehensive annual finance report for fiscal year ended June 30, 2017.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the report. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
We appreciate your hard work.
The next item on the agenda, item number 3, is the consent agenda.
All right, are there items to be removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Keefe, I don't see another button.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to discuss item 3B. And if there are no other items to consent, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 3B.
Second. Third.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda with the exception of item 3B. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, let's go now to item 3B.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a bit of a unique situation. There is a change in, there is a request for commissioners to change their policy on appointments to boards and commissions. And I had a question of whether or not this conflicts with our current policy. And I had a brief conversation with the attorney. There is a belief that there is room for clarification on this. So what I would like to do is move that this item go to the policy committee for clarification and then report back to the full board.
Second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I have discussion. Are there others with discussion on this item? This is the item that we approved as individual members of the Cumberland County Hospital Board and not as a board as a whole. And it came before us in October, and we voted on it in December. So I'm wondering how, you said our attorney found something wrong with it.
Madam Chair, if I could speak before the attorney. As members of the hospital board, Commissioner Faircloth pointed out one time, sometimes we have to vote with two different hats. This is commissioner responsibility to appoint boards and commissions, and I think that is separate from our position as hospital trustees. But I will defer to the attorney if he has any clarification.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. No, this was a very brief discussion not long before this meeting, and I was not aware of this until it got on the agenda. But the concern, I believe, is about the requirement in Article 4. Let me pull it up.
I don't.
Specifically, that we can appoint members to the board that do not reside in Cumberland County, whereas our current policy mandates that members appointed to boards and commissions must reside in Cumberland County. And that was the difference in that portion of it, and I believe it needed to be clarified before we move forward.
And that's Article 5. And the reason the Board of Commissioners is being asked by the Board of Trustees to vote on these changes is that there are certain articles in the Articles of Incorporation that must have the consent of the Board of Commissioners if they're to be changed. Article 5 is one of them. The question that Commissioner Keefe had, was about the statement in here now that, which is new to the Articles of Incorporation, that the board may appoint the at-large trustees from counties other than Cumberland County if it's a county in which the hospital corporation does business. Specifically in reference to Mr. Commissioner Keith's question, he was concerned whether that violated the Board of Commissioners' rules of procedure about making appointments. And the Rule 29 in your rules just says that all members appointed to a board or committee must maintain residence in Cumberland County. But it also says that all appointments will be made in accordance with the statute or ordinance that created the board or committee, if applicable. Of course, this is not a statute or ordinance, but it is a separate document that creates this. So it's really just a matter for the board. If you adopt this change to the bylaws, excuse me, to the Articles of Incorporation, it just says that you can appoint residents from a county other than Cumberland County. It doesn't say that you have to. So that's really the way that it falls in with the rules of procedure. It's certainly something that can be explored further, but I mean, this has not been something that I've really done any research in. It's just looked at what this thing says, and when Commissioner Keefe asked me about this, I hadn't even seen this particular range. I didn't know what his question was, but that's what it is. If you adopt this, you are not requiring yourselves to violate your rules, but you're just saying, you know, you're changing the way that you can point to this board.
I don't know if I'm straight on that. It's a bit confusing to me now.
This by itself does not violate the rules because it doesn't require you to appoint someone from another county. It says you may.
So it does not violate the rules?
Yes, ma'am. It does not by itself. It does not violate your rules because it doesn't require that you make the appointment from another county.
All right.
But it allows us for making an appointment to the other.
It will allow it. Yes, sir. It will allow it.
Which is not in our policy.
That in your existing policy, that's correct. It just says you must appoint from the county.
So should I take it now, Mr. Attorney, that any board can send us a thing to say, because we have other boards that are asking that we change our policy for their specific boards, whether it be in terms, whether it be in their residency. So what is it going to take? All I'm trying to do is put the rule in, follow the rules. If we don't like the rule, we can move to change the rule. But there is a rule.
Yeah, yes, sir, I understand. But your rule is just not just a one statement thing. I mean, there's about 15 provisions in that rule, and this document by itself does not, if you adopt it, does not violate the rule because it doesn't require you to appoint someone from outside the county.
All right, may I go to Mr. Adams, please?
And, Madam Chair, it's my understanding it's not just a point outside of Cumberland County, but where the hospital is doing business, because I think we've got to the point of doing business in Hoke, Bladen, Harnett, and those counties as to whether there might be some representation. You know, my thing is from the standpoint, and I think it's clearly evident down in Bladen County, if you don't have some local folk engaged with the hospital, it's difficult to be successful in those venues. I don't believe it gets to the point that they become a majority of the board or any of that, but I do believe that when you're looking at those other boards, those other counties that we do business in, there might need to be some representation. Doesn't mean that we have to, it's mandatory for us to do that. And so I don't believe it violates the policy because it's not mandatory and it's not one that requires us to do that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Mr. Booth?
I appreciate it being brought to our attention, and I think you're spot on. It doesn't require us, by doing it, it doesn't require us that we violated it until we then name somebody. It's going to come back up again. Does this now violate our policy of being a county resident? So that, you know, that's, I think we're setting ourselves up to look at it twice anyway.
I understand, but the first section of the rule says all members appointed to a board committee must maintain residence in Cumberland County. So if that's all this rule said, then you'd have to change your rule. But the second section of that says all appointments will be made in accordance with the statute or ordinance that created the board committee, if applicable. No, this is not a statute or ordinance, but it is a document that's a corporate document that establishes this office. So you've got two provisions there that you have to appoint in accordance with what the bylaws say, which say you can appoint from Cumberland County, and then you've got the first part that says that they must maintain a residence in Cumberland County. So you could do this without violating the rules. If down the road you want to appoint someone that didn't reside in Cumberland County, I would suggest at that point that you might modify the language in your rules somewhat to clarify that. But this by itself doesn't violate your rules.
Okay, well, I should probably know this, but there's the 7 of us. How many do we appoint?
Eight at large.
8 at large, okay. How many are there 20? How many other, in the whole board?
7 plus 8.
The commissioners are 7. You got sort of.
It's more than that.
There's 20. I think this rule says there are 20.
It's 20.
20? Okay, who appoints those 5?
The board of trustees.
Okay.
Including the board of commissioners.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm having a problem when you said the board shall, the board may, the board can. I didn't know if you were saying the board of trustees can or the board of commissioners could. So yeah. I have no problem with modifying it to the board of trustees can appoint wherever they want. Yeah, but I don't think we ought to be saying that we're going to take up the slack, because I don't think they're going to want to cut loose with their 5 appointments. They'll want us to do it.
Of course, the rules, excuse me, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I mean, so if they want to change their portion of it, that they, and I think the most active to start off with in the area would be a surgeon that works in Bladen County or something in the medical field or the hospital down there that comes on board with them as opposed to a citizen at large. So I have no problem with them doing their 5 however they want to do it.
Yeah, let me be clear though, the rules of procedure of the board of commissioners don't apply to the trustees.
I know.
So you've got 7 members as commissioners that are trustees by virtue of holding office as commissioner. You 7 commissioners appoint 8 more, what are called at large.
Right.
Your rules will apply to that appointment. The 15, or whatever how many members then on the board of trustees that are making an appointment, or who appoint the other 5, I guess it would be. So your rules don't apply to the appointments that you make as a member of the board of trustees.
Right. I can see why they would ask us to change ours, because they don't want to spend their 5 on doing it. So you know, if it means something,
they also have that option to be outside the county.
That's correct. Right. They do. Yep. Under these new rules, yes, sir. Under these new rules.
So, Mr. Adams, would you be? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I say, would you be okay if we let the commissioners of each of the surrounding counties have 1 vote for the hospital board?
Say that one more time now. You better, don't try to get me too quick now. Say that one more time.
Okay. Yeah. That wasn't a motion.
No, you know, and I'm not. believe me, I'm not here advocating that we point anybody from outside this county.
No.
I think that as this system grows, and it may grow, I don't know that it may grow to another. Healthcare is changing every single day.
It is.
Even inside this document, you know, we've got hospitals or some people who work for the hospital that it can now serve. So there are changes in healthcare field. These new millennials, you know, they don't want to go in private practice anymore. They're going and they're working for hospitals, and you don't want to, even with that, cut off your best and brightest for a technicality. That's my thing. And I think that as you move around to these counties, sometimes it's good to have somebody from that local county that's a mover and shaker or whatever on your board. Whether it be, you know, the 5 off of the hospital board, you know, they got 5, they can do theirs. I don't have a problem with that.
Let me clarify something. One of you said something about employed physicians.
Mm-hmm.
And the employed physicians would only come from the medical executive committee.
Right.
We will accept whoever the medical executive committee sends as, I don't know if you call it director.
No, Madam Chair, that's not true.
I think that's changing.
We changed it with these
on this.
rules. It came down to the fact that they do have a lot of hospitalists, people who are working at the hospital, and they would now be eligible to be appointed to the board. It was my understanding. That was my reading.
Okay.
And what they
that was
said
the second.
explain it. But I don't have an issue with that. I was just using that as a,
Okay.
So it may be you may want to send it to policy, look at all of those or whatever. But I don't really have a problem.
Let me, I don't either, especially since all 7 of us saw this in October and voted on it last month. This month, 2 weeks ago. We voted on it as individuals.
Trustees.
Trustees, as individual trustees. Right, for the hospital.
And that's the 2-hat thing that Marshall's talking about. What might be a good idea as a trustee
So,
may not be in our dual role as a commissioner.
I'm now Santa Claus.
Okay.
And I'm gonna send it to policy. Can I do that?
You just did. Well, we make a motion.
There's a
I love
motion
your
on-
leadership, if
there's
that's
a-
it.
There's a motion on the floor. You spoke for the motion. He made the motion to do that. Exactly what you just said.
Yes,
So that's fine.
Okay.
I second it.
Thank
Those
you.
in favor?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Unanimous.
Next item, Shannon. Next item, Shannon.
Item number 4 on the agenda are our public hearings. We have 4 uncontested rezoning cases. The first one, case P17-44. Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, ma'am. The first case is simple rezoning of 7.6 acres. It's merely to remove an old conditional use overlay, is what we used to call it, for a welding shop, and just make it an RR rezoning, a zoned RR. There was no opposition at the planning board meeting. Planning staff recommended approval, unanimous approval, recommendation by the planning board.
All right, you've heard from Mr. Lloyd, and you've had the opportunity to read the cases. What is your...
Is there a public hearing?
You got to open it.
I need to open the public hearing on case P17-44. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers.
I will close the public hearing on case P17-44. What is your pleasure?
I'll take it, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, in the case of P17-44, I move to approve the rezoning to remove the conditional use overlay for a welding shop at the property owner's request, and find the South Central land use plan has been examined and does not address this particular situation, and further find approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the business is no longer in operation at this location.
Second.
All right, you've heard the motion. And the second, those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Our next case.
Excuse me. Just so that people watch us on TV, Matt, and I just want to, because most people want a second motion, and I think we got a memo on that, and I ought to be explained, because I think people look and say, it's always been 2 motions. Why there's 1 motion now as opposed to 2, and that's because of some statutory change.
Yes, sir.
And I think it ought to be
And
explained a little
it's shortened and easier to understand, hopefully.
The legislature may revise the statute effective for applications filed after October 1st of this year, so that now you only make 1 motion, but the other language in there about the finding consistency and stuff, that's very specific language that's required, and you have a more definite but different format than you had in the past.
Thank you. I just thought people may want to.
Our next case is case P17-45.
Yes, ma'am. This is a rezoning from R6A to CP near the intersection of Hope Mills and Cumberland Road. There was no opposition at the planning board. There is no opposition tonight. Both the staff and the planning board recommend approval.
All right. I'll open the public hearing. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers.
And I will close the public hearing. Now, what is your pleasure?
Madam Chair, in the case of P17-45, I move to approve the rezoning from R6A residential to CP planned commercial and find that it's consistent with the adopted Southwest Cumberland land use plan, which calls for mixed use and heavy commercial developments at this location, and mixed use allows for retail and commercial uses. And further, find that approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because all uses allowed within the R6A district would not be suitable at this location. In addition, approval will allow for increased commercial development of property under the same ownership and located at a major intersection.
Second.
All right, was it a second? Mm-hmm. All right. It's been moved and seconded. You heard the motion. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
Our next planning case is case P17-49.
Yes, ma'am. This is a rezoning of .68 acres from O&IP, planned office and institutional, to CP along Cumberland Road. There was no opposition at the planning board. Both the staff recommends approval and the planning board recommended approval unanimously.
All right. I'll open the public hearing. I can't move it. And I will close the public hearing. If there are speakers, no speakers.
There are no speakers.
There are no speakers. I'll close the public hearing. Thank you. Yeah, take that. Take this one. What is your pleasure, please?
Madam Chair. In the case of P17-49, I move to approve the rezoning from O&IP planned office and institutional to CP planned commercial and find that it's consistent with the adopted Southwest Cumberland land use plan, which calls for heavy commercial at this location. And further, find approval of the request is reasonable and in public interest because although public sewer is normally required for a favorable recommendation to commercial zoning, sewer is not available and the district requested is in harmony with the area along Cumberland Road that has been transitioning from residential to light and heavy commercial over the last 10 years.
Second. All right, you've heard the motion and the second.
And can I just ask, I always have a problem with this sewer. So it's just, I mean, there's no sewer out there, I understand that. But
yes,
if you start adding this commercial to it, or we just start asking for problems somewhere down the road. I rode by there and I don't know.
Well, there's many areas along Cumberland Road, off Boone Trail, some areas that are surrounded by the city that need to be taken into the city and need to have sewer provided to them. The staff doesn't feel that any more sewer will be required in this instance of going from the planned office to the planned commercial.
Say that one more time, Mama.
It's existing zone planned office, and don't feel that any more would be required, any more need for sewer would be required by the planned commercial than is already required by the planned office and institutional.
So what you're saying, going from what we have to commercial, it's going, it's same sewer is
It's
what you
office
kind of
use.
saying. So is this one of those donut holes that's sitting around where the city is all around, and therefore that's why it's not sewer in there?
It's up and down Cumberland Road. It
Right.
jumps from sewer to no sewer, and in areas along Boone Trail as it comes into Cumberland Road, there are donuts. And for years, as planners, of course, we'd like to see that sewer be extended and taken into the city. But this is one of those areas that clearly is in the city and surrounded by the city as you go up and down Cumberland Road, but doesn't have access to sewer. It's in the county.
But
I'm asking the question.
But I mean, I saw the current zoning, but with the commercial, you're gonna it's not any heavier, and the sewage usage could possibly be compatible to what's already zoned.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me call on Commissioner Keith.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Adams, because I had that same. Do we have anybody on the AV that can bring up the actual overlay on this? And although I'm supporting this motion, but this is an area that needs to be looked at. And I think that when we all look at the overlay, and I'm sure we've seen it in our book, that we're going to see that this is a real checkerboard of O&I, commercial, residential, and say, if you take a look at all the different zonings up in there. Now, Tom or Mr. Lloyd, are any of these, are some of these in the city? And so, is this one of these areas that, is this all in the county on Cumberland Road?
This area, Cumberland Road, yes.
Okay. And
The
what is
city of
it,
Fayette-
can you tell by this what the approximate depth of those lots are that are on Cumberland Road?
Probably around 250 feet.
Okay. I mean, just by looking at this up here, we have O&I, we have R6, we have C1P, we have R6 with a conditional use. There is, and, you know, is it, would it be out of place to look at the entire road and do a overlay to bring it all up to commercial if if the homeowner were to go forward and want it to be moved up to commercial, but actually taking the whole road, which may help in providing sewer into the area? And do you know where the nearest sewer is?
I'd have to look on the, put the slide up there on the sewer.
Commissioner Adams, do you think this needs a look at one of our committees?
Well, yeah, because you got all of these C1Ps out there, and some of them have sewer, and I think we just adding to the problem in terms of that. I mean, I don't want to deny these folk to be able to do it, but we just asking.
Proactive planning would take care of a lot of this issue.
The problem is a lot of those structures, a lot of those lots have structures on them, houses, and to be rezoned to commercial, of course, it's going to take a lot of.
No. Tentative. If they had the option to move forward, if we allowed up to commercial zoning all in one swoop on there, they can still maintain their residential.
Yes.
Okay.
But
that doesn't work, really. I mean, would you?
They could still be residential, but if the structure was burnt or destroyed more than 50%, it wouldn't be allowed to be fixed. It wouldn't be allowed to be repaired.
I mean, it's obviously it is turning into a commercial or professional area. And for us to allow this checkerboard to keep doing it, it's hurting residential home values, but it could be increasing property values. I would just like for us to take another look at this area and to see if there's some alternatives to have some consistency on Cumberland Road. Are you aware of any other area that we do this in, doing sort of a blanket?
Mostly this area. I mean, and this has been an area of contention as planners for a long time, that this area from Boone Trail down, clearly right in the middle of the urban area, surrounded by the city, and they're still on septic.
I'm not asking that a residential person automatically be zoned commercial and start having to pay commercial tax rates. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if we take the whole area and we look at it to where we believe that this could be commercial, so if a homeowner did want to sell their property, that it sort of has been pre-approved for commercial, if we can do something like that.
We can do that, and we did it years ago for Hope Mills Road, when it transitioned from, first from residential to office, and then parts of it to commercial.
Yeah, okay.
We can do a business street study.
Hey, Madam Manager, would there be a particular committee that should look at something like this, or?
In this, you would have the Comprehensive Planning Committee. The Planning Board usually will look at it and work with staff and then send it forward to the commissioners as a study.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't have the authority to ask that, but I think that we should take some proactive stance on Cumberland Road on this.
All right, do I push the button for me?
Don't start pushing your button.
I'm going to demote you from being an elf.
He's already down too far.
Look, please tell me, I know this is a lengthy process, and when I looked at this, I looked at what you all are saying, how is transitioning. We did the same thing on was it Yadkin Road some years ago? But how long a process is this going to be? How much staff time?
We have the time to do this, and we could probably do it within 3 months. If you directed staff, which is how you would direct the staff to go ahead and conduct this study. And we would conduct it, take it to the planning board, and then bring it to you all.
All right.
Is there any parameters on this? Would you like it to go from, say, Owen Drive forward, Boone Trail, to Hope Mills Road? Is there any particular bound? We'll just look at the inconsistency. Okay. We'll go further than that. We'll go down to Boone Trail then and work our way up.
By that time, we're going to be in the budget process.
Yeah, my only question really is, are we placing an undue hardship on the property owner by delaying this unnecessarily? I mean,
no, we can do this one.
We'll vote for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, okay, so you want to go through with this one and then have that study.
May I add something? But most of this area, the plan calls for urban. The 2030 plan will call for urban, which, of course, I'm saying this because if another applicant comes in, as you see, it is transitioning. We would still come forward unless you'd like us not to. But I think it's best that we still come forward with a recommendation to you if we get a request come in while the study's going on.
And it might take 4 to 6 months.
No, ma'am, it won't.
Okay. What is your pleasure?
Motion on the table, ma'am. Let's vote.
There's not a motion, is
there? Yeah, there's a motion. It was a motion and a second, and Glenn asked a question.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Madam Chair, can I have this motion restated? I didn't hear a motion.
Please.
The motion on P1749.
It was one that, no.
There's no public sewer there.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
I thought we were discussing 50.
Let me go back and see.
I'm sorry, which case are we discussing?
1749.
49, okay, there is
49.
there is a motion, yeah.
The motion was made by Commissioner
yeah, I made
Faircloth
that.
and seconded by Commissioner Council.
He forgot he made his own motion.
I thought we'd gone to the other case.
And the motion.
Merry Christmas, Marshall.
All right, and the motion followed the recommended motion.
That's correct.
It did, yes, ma'am.
All right. So this is P1749, made by Mr. Faircloth, seconded by me, that we follow the planning board and the planning staff and planning board recommendation on this item. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right.
We're concerned. We're concerned.
Now,
Y'all beat me up.
We are going to look at this in a few months. You're going to look at it. You heard the question.
Do you need a directive now, or do you understand the consensus?
I think the directive would be to bring back, at least have to the planning board within 90 days, some sort of recommendation for this area. And we'll set the parameters from Boone Trail to Hope Mills Road. That's where most of the action's taking place.
Keeping in mind that we only meet once in March, I think it is.
Madam Chair, for clarification, would you like this information to go to the policy committee or come back to the full board?
They'll skip a month.
I think policy, because we have more time to be able to discuss it, as opposed to us sitting here trying to debate it on
The chair
in a
of
meeting.
policy
Okay, thank you.
has graciously accepted this responsibility for that committee. Okay. Thank you. Case P 1750.
Yes, ma'am. This is a rezoning of 2.36 acres from A1 to R40A, which will increase the density from 1 unit to 2. And by the A being 140A, the second unit will be a manufactured home. And there was no opposition at the planning board meeting. The staff recommended approval, and the planning board recommends approval to you unanimously.
All right. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers.
Then I will open the public hearing, and I will close the public hearing. What is your pleasure? On case P 1750.
You got me?
I just have a question.
Madam Chair, I got this one too, if you're ready.
Ms. Fairclough and Mr. Booth have this
I
one.
just have a question after he makes
okay.
one or the other.
All right. This motion gets a little complicated, but in case, excuse me, in case P 17-50, I move that we approve the rezoning from A1 agricultural to R40A residential and find the following. A, the approval is an amendment to the adopted Southeast Cumberland Land Use Plan 2016 map, and the Board of Commissioners shall not require any additional request or application for amendment to the said map. B, the following change in conditions was considered in amending the zoning ordinance or zoning map to meet the development needs of the community. Approval of the request is consistent within the text of the Southeast Land Use Plan in that it will allow for lot sizes and land uses that accommodate residential development while protecting and maintaining the rural residential character of the farmland area. And C, that this rezoning approval is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested will limit uses on this site to primarily single-family residential uses and is in accord with previous rezoning approvals in this area.
I'll second with a question.
All right, it's been seconded. Motion and second. Question, Mr. Booth.
Yes, thank you for putting that up there. The sliver, I imagine, is some sort of easement to getting to the Beaver Dam Road there?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a flag lot.
Okay, and is the parcel top and bottom of the checkerboard thing there, is that the same owner, different owners? Is that, do you know? I mean,
Different
is it somebody
owners. This
asking
is
for a
one
portion of their property, or is it somebody in there asking with two neighbors?
The flag lot's separate. It's,
But different owners?
yeah, no. Different owners from the surrounding property?
Yeah, the right there, that
Right,
dot,
right.
and then right above it. Is it like, do I own all that little weird shape?
No, sir.
Trapezoid? and
It's
I'm just-
separate owners, right.
Okay, so 3 different ones?
I'm not sure
You're not
about
sure?
that.
Okay, all right. I just know.
I can check on the tax map in the file.
No, that's all right.
Why does it have a boundary though? A cut somewhere to show it's owned by different people? It looks like it's one continuous ownership.
The flag is.
Flag is different. Yeah.
The flag is part
of the
lot that goes down to Beaver Dam Church Road that was cut out.
All right. Are there other questions? If not, I'm going to call for the vote. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
Motion passes.
There are no items of business this evening, Madam Chair, so we'll go to item number 6. There are no nominations, but item 7 are our appointments.
Nominations. Still an agenda item, we can make a nomination.
You can make a nomination. If I remember correctly, you can make a nomination and appointment at the same meeting?
Yes. I defer to the attorney, but I believe so.
The rule says that the board will ordinarily nominate to fill vacancies in one meeting and appoint the next meeting, so that leaves you room to do it all in one meeting.
I can do it on 6 or 7. Madam Chair, your pleasure. Or Commissioner Bruce.
Wait a minute. Okay. Commissioner Keefe, you have a nomination on an item that is an appointment.
Well, actually, I think Commissioner Bruce had it, but I didn't want it to go by without having some, but if you want to.
I didn't know whether it was 6 or 7, but at the last meeting, we standardly have kind of a little packet or a little chart that says whether one of our current appointees that does not come to the end of his or her terms of 2 consecutive terms on the board is or is not eligible. This was not listed either way. And when I asked, I was told that this Tim Richardson was not eligible for reappointment. I thereby voted for the one and only other name that went out there. In fairness to Mr. Richardson, since we got a memo, I think 2 or 3 days after that meeting that said he was eligible, and I've looked back over the practices of this thing, and it seems to be that if we have somebody that's on for 2 terms or completing their first, they at least get the nod of being nominated to take a second term. So whether it's here or in 7, I would like to put the name of Tim Richardson in to follow his term in the Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, now this will be his beginning of his 4th term. He served for 9 years.
Right.
It's a new board.
Well, he served for 9 years.
My understanding is that he was only been appointed by the Board of Commissioners one time, that the previous stuff was done by the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got a question he wasn't. I got a memo that says he was, and I've looked back on what y'all have done over the years, and it seems like they at least get a nod to get a chance at, if they're eligible, they get nominated to do it. I've never met the fellow. He didn't call me or anything.
Oh, he's a nice, yeah, because I think I was the one that nominated him from this board to have some carryover with the new board for his 3rd term instead of his 2nd term. But what is your pleasure?
I just put his name in nomination to.
You would just put his name in nomination for item. Oh Lord.
Well, Madam Chair, and I may be just crazy. Sometime I am. But I do remember conversation by this board that when we nominated to the Economic Development Board, there was a 3-year term and there was a 2-year term. And there was discussion, whatever reason, it's not in any minutes. I don't know where it came from because I think Madam Clerk looked for it, Madam Manager might look for it. Some commissioners asked for it. But there was clearly discussion that first there was discussion as who would be the 2 and the 3 year, and that was between Ms. Pilgrim and Mr. Richardson. There was first discussion about Mr. Richardson because he had served on the chamber, from the chamber, but that this board thought that for some continuity that we would allow him to be appointed to this board this time for that 2-year period of time, so we would have some history from the old board to this board.
Right.
Now, I will tell you, maybe I was just dreaming. There are no minutes to that effect from my understanding because I think some commissioners asked for it. So I don't know where I got that from, but that was my understanding when we did that, and that's why I nominated Mr. Farmer, who is owns the Jackson Hewitts. He creates jobs in this community and employs folks. So that's just where I am. But I would do the consensus of the board, but that was my understanding. And like I said, you weren't here. You weren't here, and I understand that, but that
I just
was.
looked and saw that everybody that comes up, we
Right.
get a thing that says
Right.
eligible, yes. And if there's 4 positions and 2 are eligible, we have 2 that take it, and then we're really only looking for 2.
Right, but that was my understanding from when we did it, and created and started this board, but, that was.
We wanted it.
Right, and we wanted
wanted
that
it.
continuity for that 2-year period of time, understanding that, and I would tell you that there's been some discussion. The document probably needs to be reviewed altogether, because now it's questions whether that 2-year term becomes a 3-year term or whether it stays a 2-year term. But that's a whole nother issue that might need to be sent to policy or somewhere. But my understanding, and I thought we discussed it right here, and maybe we did, maybe we didn't, we can't find it, so it wasn't discussed here. But that was the conversation that was had. And I think Commissioner Edge was on the board at that time when we were doing all of that.
Mr. Abbs, I could address the issue you raised, though. In the document, the corporate documents for the board of directors create the initial staggered terms and says that thereafter all terms are
3 years.
3-year terms.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that
That's what they did on
completes
the
that.
school board. They did a couple of 6, 4, and
And-
after that, everybody was.
Right, and that's why we did that staggered term for 2 years.
All right, I believe we're recognizing that in item 7, nominations. Am I correct in that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's get everybody watered up. What have you done?
Madam Chair, if I can, while you're finding your spot there, I will concur with Commissioner Adams, exactly what he said, exactly what we said we would do. We didn't say we did say that Mr. Richardson would be there for continuity. He didn't say he wouldn't be eligible for another term necessarily. But at the last meeting, we were told that he was not eligible. And if that is in error, then I think we should consider him. You know, if he in fact is eligible, it's not a policy, and we don't have to reappoint somebody, but we typically do it unless they, for some reason, don't want to do it, or we don't want them to do it. But I don't.
Marshall said it better than me, and he was here.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Glenn. What Glenn said is true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though that we were told somehow or another that he was not eligible, and now we're being told that he is. And we typically, if somebody is eligible, we typically reappoint them unless we have a substantive reason not to, such as they don't want to be, or we don't want them to be. So what does that leave us?
I don't know. I'm going to make an executive decision.
Okay.
And that is going to be that we go to appointments and then we vote. You may, item A will be the Cumberland County Home and Community Care Block Grant. And item B will be the Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation. 1 vacancy, and we will vote on the 2 nominees.
Okay.
Madam,
Is that legal?
yeah, Madam Chair, if you would like, for the number A, the Cumberland County Home Community Block Grant, I will say that they have an equal number of nominees and appointments, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that the 7 members nominated will be appointed. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
It's unanimous, thank you. Item B, if I can find it, is the Fayetteville Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation. We have 2 nominees. We had 2 nominees. Kelvin Farmer and
Tim Richardson.
Tim Richardson. Okay. Kelvin Farmer, who was nominated at the last meeting, and Tim Richardson, who is nominated at this meeting. Okay. Are we ready to vote? I see no lights. Those in favor of Kelvin Farmer, please raise your hands.
In favor are Commissioners Council, Adams, and Evans.
And those in favor of Tim Richardson?
Commissioners Faircloth, Keith, and Boos.
What happens in case of a tie?
You're going to have to wait to the next meeting when you got another member. You didn't have a majority for either one. Neither person was appointed.
All right, so all 3 are automatically nominated.
Well, 2. You've got 2 in nomination now. I thought you were really on the appointment right now.
We are.
Who are? And it's a tie.
Neither person was appointed because you didn't.
Neither person is appointed, so both will appear. Unless I have a 3rd nominee and decide to make a nomination and appointment. Okay, because y'all haven't said a thing about women. Okay.
And there's actually only going to be one on that board, I would tell you. There was only going to be one woman on that board, on the Economic Development Board, so I will let you know that. Out of the membership that's on there now, unless the city appoints somebody.
Bringing that back to policy, look at that again.
Oh, okay.
Juanita Pilgrim has, what, a year left on her
Right, and
first term.
Kathy Jensen came off because the mayor went on, so, and Denise Strother was asked, I think she asked not to be reappointed, or,
Was she the private? Was she private?
yes.
I don't know. We'll make a decision at the January meeting. All right. Madam Chair, Madam Manager, I believe we need to recess.
We do. We need to recess the Board of County Commissioners meeting and convene the Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
All right. And that's what we're doing. Recessing the Commissioners meeting. And I'm going to call to order the Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting.
And we have 2 items, Madam Chair. First is approval of the minutes of the September 6, 2016 Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board. And then we also have an item that was considered by our Finance Committee, Facilities Committee, in its consideration of condemnation and quick take powers of easement for the Overhills Park Water and Sewer District.
All right. Not hearing a motion. I'm going to move that we approve the minutes of the September 6, 2016 Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
I'll second that for the September 7th, 2017 minutes.
Thank you. Are there questions? Not hearing any. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. The second item. What is your pleasure? It calls for, we're trying to bring water to, sewer to Overhills Park Water and Sewer District. I move that we follow the recommendation as discussed in Finance Committee meeting.
Facilities.
Or was it facilities?
It was facilities.
I knew it started with an F.
I second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Those in favor? It's unanimous.
Unanimous.
I'm sorry, Madam. All right, let's adjourn the Overhills Water and Sewer District Governor Board. And I'm going to call to order the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. All right, I need a motion, please. Item 9.
Madam Chair, item 9, I'm sorry, item 8.
Item 8.
8. Okay, so 8. I move that we go into closed session to discuss an attorney-client matter pursuant to NC General Statutes 143.318.11A3.
Second.
All right. Those in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you. We are now in closed session.
Welcome to Cumberland Update, your source for information about Cumberland County news and events. I'm your host, Geneve Mankel. The Cumberland Disaster Recovery Coalition, in collaboration with Alliance Behavioral Healthcare and other community partners, presented Heart of Matthew Awards during a ceremony last month. The awards honored community heroes who went above and beyond the call of duty to help others during, before, and after Hurricane Matthew last year. CDRC Executive Director Yvonne Anton and Master of Ceremonies Gilbert Bays presented the awards. Heart of Matthew Award recipients were Cumberland County Animal Control for the efforts of employees to rescue flood-threatened animals at the shelter, as well as the rescue of 30 dogs and 3 cats from a pet boarding facility in downtown Fayetteville, and for assisting evacuated families with their pets during the hurricane. Stacy Leach and Andre Fennell for their efforts in rescuing 26 patients at the Alzheimer's-related care facility. Larry Gray for his life-saving efforts to rescue victims trapped in floodwaters and helping pull a person who fell in an open manhole. The Fayetteville Police Department's Rescue No. 2 unit for efforts to save several people who were trapped in vehicles caught in floodwaters on city streets. Cumberland County Department of Social Services for working at the Emergency Operations Center, for coordinating the work of relief agencies, and for working at emergency shelters. Second Harvest Food Bank's mobile food pantry for taking food and water to residents who did not have transportation. And the Cumberland Community Foundation for raising more than $400,000 to help with relief efforts. The Cumberland County Board of Commissioners also recognized Steve Rogers for his volunteerism and commitment to the CDRC, which he helped found in 2011. The CDRC is a long-term disaster recovery organization that helps county residents affected by state and federally declared disasters. For more information about CDRC, visit their website at cdrcnc.org. Are you interested in increasing your gardening knowledge and volunteering in our community? If so, consider applying for the Extension Master Gardener Volunteer Program. The Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Office will be offering training classes for Master Gardener volunteers every Thursday beginning January 11th and ending April 26th. The class will meet from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Auditorium located at 301 East Mountain Drive in Fayetteville. The application deadline is November 22nd and are available by calling the Extension Office at 910-321-6405 or by visiting the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension website at cumberland.ces.gov. www.ncsu.edu. Cumberland County and the City of Fayetteville recently launched the Pathways for Prosperity initiative to improve economic mobility for citizens across the region. Pathways for Prosperity distributed a community member survey, and we'll go over those results during a summit November 18th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Cumberland County Department of Social Services facility. During the summit, attendees will also analyze recent poverty data and map out a process for identifying key focus areas and resources to combat poverty in our community. The summit is open to anyone interested in a community conversation and action to address economic mobility for Fayetteville and Cumberland County residents. After the summit, a community revitalization task force will be assembled and a comprehensive action plan will be produced by mid-February. For more information about this initiative, visit pathwaysforprosperity.org. The Cumberland County Library and Information Center will hold 2 Let's Talk About It reading and discussion sessions in November. The discussions will center on race, identity, and American culture through the lens of African American literature. On November 14th, The Color Purple by Alice Walker will be discussed, and on November 28th, Your Blues Ain't Like Mine by B.B. Moore Campbell will be the topic. The program begins at 6 p.m. in the Pate Room at Headquarters Library. The library will also offer It's a Wrap, a winter reading and activity program from December 15th through January 15th. This program is a low-key way for readers of all ages to add fun to the winter months and win prizes. Pick up a reading log at any library branch, keep track of what you read, and turn in your log to be entered into a prize drawing. Learn more about these programs and more by visiting the library website at cumberland.lib.nc.us. Women in Cumberland County who are pregnant, have recently given birth, or who are breastfeeding an infant less than 12 months old may be eligible for the Women, Infants, and Children program, also known as WIC. Infants or children under 5 years old may also be eligible. To qualify for WIC, a participant's gross annual income must not exceed 185% of the poverty level. Anyone on Medicaid, food stamps, and Work First will meet the WIC income eligibility. Participants must also reside in North Carolina and meet nutritional and medical criteria. Women enrolled in WIC not only receive supplemental foods, but receive valuable nutrition education and breastfeeding information and support. They also can get referrals to community and health agencies to help improve their diets. There are 3 WIC offices in Cumberland County to serve our residents. Those offices are located at the Department of Public Health, in Spring Lake, and Hope Mills. For more information on WIC office locations and hours, program eligibility, and information on how to apply, visit the Health Department website at co.cumberland.nc.us/health or call 910-433-3730. Thanks for watching this edition of Cumberland Update. If you would like more information about your county government, please visit our website, give us a call, or follow us on social media. Cumberland County, caring, committed community.
To be part of the Cumberland County government is a wonderful opportunity. I pride myself in that. To be able to serve the 328,000 citizens here of Cumberland County, it just makes me proud to be able to do that, be part of that.
In the 911 center, we're also known as the first responders because we have the ability to give you life-saving instructions before any apparatus can arrive at your residence in case of emergency. We can help you get out of a house fire. We can help you get yourself to safety. We can help you deliver a child. We are here to help you while help is on the way.
I'm very proud to be a part of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. They do everything they can in their power to help the public in any situation. The Sheriff's Office also has many different sections within the agency. Every section strives to maintain a professional and proficient work environment to help the people. And the biggest thing for our agency is we want the citizens to know that when they call us, we are going to be there for them.
Cumberland County Animal Control serves the community in a number of ways. Our enforcement division, of course, is on the street enforcing ordinances, trying to keep both the people and the animals in our community safe. And then for the homeless or unwanted animals in our community, we provide the shelter for them where we can find them a new home, get them with another family. I'm proud of the way the community has supported us with their time and their donations. We have great volunteers and fosters that help make us successful in getting as many animals out of here as possible in a good way.
What our department does exceptionally well is work with the members of our community that have issues, whether it's a lawn issue from a residential perspective or an issue with their soybean crop on hundreds or thousands of acres. The work in cooperative extension, it allows you to work with young people, it allows you to work with senior citizens, it allows you to work with people in the prime of their life that are growing hundreds of acres, and so it's the perfect niche for me personally to apply what I've learned and hopefully help the community in that process.
We at the Planning and Inspections Department, our major focus is guiding orderly growth in the county, and on the inspections side of the Planning and Inspections Department, we provide code enforcement through local ordinances as well as ensuring that buildings meet the North Carolina Building Code.
G47. At the public library, we serve the public by providing traditional services that you would expect, by providing books and computers and internet access, but we also go beyond the four walls of the library and we provide access via story times and outreaches. We'll go out to nursing homes and do programs. We'll go into the public schools and provide programs as needed. And so I just love that we're able to show students and teachers and even adults in the community everything that the library can open up to them.
What it means to me to be a public servant is that you have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the people you contact on a daily basis. And you have an opportunity to give back of yourself to your community and to ensure those that you are serving are taken care of. And we don't take our job lightly. It's an honor and a privilege to give back to those service members who have given of themselves to this great nation, and just making sure that they provide the service that are required, and that we should go above and beyond to make sure that we exhaust all means in trying to get them benefits.
I am the customer service coordinator for the Cumberland County Tax Administration. We map, we appraise, we value, we do business listings, personal property listings, and we also collect for all the tax bills that we generate. We have many different programs to assist for people on lower incomes to help with their tax bills. We do listings for businesses. Wow, Cumberland County is an amazing agency to work for. It's very evident by the county manager and the county commissioners that they care about the employees. They've implemented so many different programs for us. You know, healthy eating, HOPE programs, Weight Watcher programs. There's many incentives that just tell you that they care about us. You know, I think being a public servant, you gotta love your job. You gotta love helping people. And to me, that's what it's all about. I love doing what I do every single day. People walking in, we make a difference for them either in a small way or a big way. It's not about being the public servant, it's just about doing what you feel in your heart is right for everybody that you can help.
Here at the Register of Deeds office, we do all highlights of your life, such as if you were born here in Cumberland County, you can come to us and get your birth certificate, along with your children if they were born here. If your loved one has passed, you can get your death certificate with us. If you're a retired military and you want to put your original DD 214 on file, we do that here. If you want to get married, we do marriage license. If you've purchased a home, your deed here would be recorded. If you put a mortgage on that home, that deed of trust is also here. We just definitely pride ourselves in being able to help the citizens here of Cumberland County to get those small things that they need.
A lot of initiatives that are here in this community started here at DSS, and I'm very proud to be part of that. Our motto is Families Helping Families. Families Helping Families may involve food and nutrition, medical assistance, child care, support through child protective services, support through the adult services arena, elder abuse. There are many programs that families are not familiar with, and we make every opportunity to ensure that they know when they come in here what services they can apply for. I feel that everybody deserves an opportunity. We have to let them know that all is not over, that you do have the opportunity to succeed, and you may have to start here, but tomorrow you may be where you need to be. And I think that's one thing that we strive to ensure that families understand, that this may be a starting point, but it's not the end.
So some of the services that the health department provides is WIC, pharmacy, child health, immunizations. We have the STD clinic, we have women's health, which includes the teen clinic, we have health ed, we have child care coordination, and then we have environmental health as well. So to be a public servant obviously means to help people. I love getting to have a direct impact on the community. Again, we're not here for a bottom line like big corporations. We're really here to help the citizens of Cumberland County.
I guess I'm most proud of being part of an organization that prides itself in the services that it provides our citizens, and also the people that provide those services that work for Cumberland County. And I guess I'm most proud of that, and that we make a difference every day.
So that we can talk about a truly historic situation as it relates to the weather. Record levels of flooding along rivers and creeks.
Well, you know, on the anniversary of Hurricane Matthew, I think it's important for us to look back and see what we did right, what we did wrong, and how we can prepare the next time. The one thing I want our citizens to know is you can never be over-prepared.
October 8th, 2016 was one of the few occasions that I've really been intimidated by weather. And that challenge came at 3:30 in the morning when my staff called me and told me that the barn was flooding and that the shelter was in danger of flooding. I've never felt so helpless in my life.
I think when it really hit me deep is when the representatives from FEMA came down. He said, this isn't a 100-year flood, this isn't even a 500-year flood. We're talking biblical proportions. And I think that's when it really hit me, what kind of tragedy we could be looking at.
In terms of disasters I've experienced in my lifetime, probably the worst was Hurricane Floyd. And at that time I was working in a coastal community, and we were cut off from the north to south and the west for about 3 days due to floodwaters. So Hurricane Matthew reminded me a lot of that situation.
Many citizens, long-term native individuals of Cumberland County, never have seen this type of impact in their entire lifetime.
There was so much loss in this storm. There was some people lost their homes, some people lost their jobs, some people lost pets, but some people lost their lives. And we have to be cognizant of our responsibilities of this. We sat in the EOC many times hoping that there was no lives lost, and it it brings a shudder down to all of us when you hear that story and it comes through.
Hurricane Matthew was very catastrophic. We saw numbers in calls and rain that we've never seen before. For like rainfall, 15 to 18 inches over parts of Cumberland County. There were over 1,300 rescues from swiftwater teams. We received over 8,300 911 calls just in the Cumberland County 911 Center. At one point, we had over 506 people in our shelters, with over 1,400 different people registered 2 weeks of the event. Many areas were flooded that have never seen flooding before, along Rockfish Creek, Little Rockfish Creek, Manchester, as well as some of the tributaries leading from western Cumberland County down to the Cape Fear River. There was over 1,100 homes damaged throughout Cumberland County and the city of Fayetteville, as well as over 150 businesses that were damaged during that time.
Infrastructure was impacted, not only transportation, but our power systems, the power grid, our radio communication systems, our telephone systems. From the water standpoint even, all of those major impacts, our railroad system was impacted. So in that impact, we were resilient. That is the most powerful thing about not only all of our first responders. There were stories, and there'll be stories told for many years to come, about how we used a tractor to go retrieve someone, how we used a boat, a canoe, or anything that would float or that would move to go rescue themselves. Neighbor helping neighbor, checking on neighbors, people that didn't know each other, coming together in response to a catastrophic event.
Another thing that struck me about this more than anything else, when I was in the EOC, I saw first responders and staff members from the health department and social services. They were there and they didn't have lights in their own house. Their families may not have had lights and they're struggling themselves, but they knew that their responsibilities were there to take care of the people who needed them, and that was their job. That story was told time and time again as we went through this EOC.
During the response phase, the blessings that we had with the federal teams being local, that we were not aware of at the time, when rescue and swiftwater rescue teams were becoming overwhelmed with rescues. Like we said, we had over 1,300 rescues conducted during that time frame. When we reached out to the state for additional assistance, we found that there were federal teams from New York, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania sitting right close by staging. They were staging if Matthew were to have affected Florida more so than it did. We were very lucky to have them, and they supported us in ways that we could never repay.
We had a boarding facility in the downtown area that gave us a call and said that their facility was being flooded, that the animals were in danger, the people were in danger, and that they needed assistance. They needed somewhere to place these animals. By the time we got there, we couldn't even drive up to the facility because of the amount of flooding and how high the waters were at that place. So people were halfway meeting us, pulling animals, carrying them to the trucks. We were, getting the animals as well, loaded as many as we could. I think all in all, we had about 25 to 30 dogs that we ended up picking up from the facility and bringing them back here to the shelter, animal control.
I said a number of times when it was impending that this was going to happen, that Matthew was going to come into Cumberland County, I said nobody blames us for the storm and everybody appreciates the rescue, but the recovery is where we're going to be judged.
So during Hurricane Matthew, we operated the shelters in terms of helping to assist Red Cross with the shelter. But in addition to that, Department of Social Services, one of our #1 responsibilities is providing services to citizens who need food assistance, medical assistance, those kinds of things. So the first thing that we did is we looked at our existing citizens who had lost their food stamp benefits and the food that they had bought with those benefits. And so even though the county office building was closed, we brought the Department of Social Services staff in early, and we started immediately under policy. We could replace those citizens who, because of power outages, because they had lost their homes, we could replace their benefits. And so we came in and we served almost 6,000 citizens, and we actually were able to replace their benefits.
In terms of what we've accomplished in recovery and resilience, working with our partners at FEMA and the state of North Carolina, and of course our local municipalities, we've been able to roll out a number of different programs. A number of these have been done through community development agencies. So those are really the go-to people when it comes to trying to figure out how to best meet the needs of individuals, because everybody's needs are unique. Some people may have had flood insurance, some people may have been renters, some of them may have been homeowners. So everybody's different in terms of their needs, and it's worthwhile for them to make an appointment with our community development department to be able to sit down and have an interview and just decide with them what may or may not be possible in terms of different disaster recovery grants and assistance.
And one of the responsibilities under the county emergency plan is for us to work with the different county agencies and community agencies to make sure that during the response efforts, that before Red Cross, before other agencies can get involved, that we have means for our citizens to access services immediately after the event. Different churches, different organizations came together and we started identifying what were food needs, and we were able through Second Harvest Food Bank to set up food pantries all over the county so that people would have access to food. We had Salvation Army that was working with us on clothing donations and furniture donations, because a lot of people lost everything. They lost all their clothes, so immediately after the event they needed clothes, so we worked with them, and then various other organizations that assisted. And so that's the first piece of the unmet needs, is how do you immediately respond after the event to meet those immediate needs. Now, through the Cumberland Recovery Disaster Coalition, where now volunteers assume that role. And so they've continued the work of the Unmet Needs Committee, and now they've expanded it to your faith communities and different agencies, and they come together to say, what are the needs after everybody's gone?
Well, what stands out to me most at this point in time would be exactly where we're standing, over Cross Creek, directly behind our headquarters library in the background. This right here was completely inundated with floodwaters during Hurricane Matthew. Some of the other areas, obviously, that were very highly impacted for our community was the area around Rockfish Creek. And we have several facilities along Rockfish Creek that were, again, severely impacted from the floodwaters from Hurricane Matthew. One of the ones that comes to mind is the McCauley container site, which is located off Research Drive. And obviously after a storm event, you lose power, people have got to get rid of their debris. Food in the refrigerator, stuff that got flooded, or whatever impacts they may have, they need a site to get that material to. And obviously, I would commend our solid waste staff. Donnie Tew and his staff done a tremendous amount of work. We were impacted, and we had that site completely opened back up that same week. Animal control was another area. We had next to our Sheriff's Training Center, we had a bomb bunker that was completely inundated, so we have to replace that. We're in the process of doing that now. And then our animal control facility, we had the horse barn that also was impacted by floodwaters, some significant erosion going on there, and we've got that underway and completed.
Early in this conversation, I spoke about the representative of FEMA coming and saying that this wasn't a 100-year flood or a 500-year flood, but a biblical proportion. But as soon as he said that, I realized that in a month we may get another one. And even this year, 12 months later, we were right in the path of another destructive storm that could have come. I think we had a lot of lessons learned. And one of the lessons that we had learned was be prepared all the way up to the day that it could happen to you.
Preparedness. That is, when you are prepared, generally you have a very successful outcome. Maintaining safety, maintaining situational awareness, being aware of, researching where you live, making sure you understand the pathways to safety if you need to evacuate your residents. But also don't forget that emergency preparedness kit, that 72-hour time frame where you need to make sure that you have proper water, provisions, hygiene, and all those areas, medicine, documents, important legal papers. Make sure that you have that weather radio. And also don't forget our mass communication or awareness, Cumberland alerts. That is paramount.
I think in every disaster, there's always something a light at the end. And I tell people that when a hurricane comes, you have all the wind and the rain, and as soon as it leaves, it's usually one of the most beautiful days you've ever seen in terms of the sun being out. And I think what we want citizens to know is, first of all, preparation. You can never prepare enough. And that's one of the roles of the CDRC, is also to promote and educate around preparation. And you just can't prepare enough. I certainly hope that our citizens will register with Cumberland Alerts. That is so very important. Find your insurance papers. Take the time to learn what's covered. What is your disaster plan? What is your evacuation plan? Because it saves lives. And in Cumberland County, disasters are a reality.
I am proud of the men and women of Cumberland County, of what they did during that hurricane. But more important, what they're doing now after this hurricane. The hurricane, we weathered that storm. The next storm is the recovery. And that one is a lot longer, and it's a lot more difficult. I learned that. I thought the storm was going to be the most difficult part, surviving that. But the recovery, the people who were impacted, the people who were lost, that lost everything. And when they talk to you and you see it in their eyes and you feel it in their heart, and you can't help but feel for them, one of the things I tell the citizens here, to know that we're going to be with them to the very end. We're going to see this recovery through. And that's why it's important to look back. To look back at Hurricane Matthew, to say, let's learn things, let's be prepared, and let's get ready for the future.
She was a wonderful woman, an accomplished attorney, and a voice for many who had no one else to speak for them. I was extremely fortunate to know her. But my favorite way to remember her is as the mother of one of my best friends in high school, her daughter, Catherine Allen. Back when Catherine was Kathy, and I was Jimmy, the Allen house was home to all of our high school friends. The Allens opened their homes and their hearts to all of us teenagers. We all spent many hours in their basement, having parties, studying on occasion, and just hanging out. We were always welcome. Sylvia and her husband, Dr. Allen, had 8 children, so we just became part of the group. And Sylvia called us all her kids. Back then, their youngest daughter, Liz, who is an accomplished attorney now, we called Becky. Another person who was raised up in the Allen home was County Commissioner Charles Evans. I'd like for him to come forward with Miss Allen's daughter, attorney Liz Allen, Liz's husband, Kendall Tyre, and their children, Isabella, and Evan. And I believe we also have a family friend who is Brookie Harrington. He is also representing Fayetteville State University. And I would also like to ask County Commissioner Dr. Jeanette Council to come forward as we unveil this photo.
I grew up in a day when women weren't doing extraordinary things. They kind of stood in the background, but Sylvia Allen didn't. The fact that she lived and worked here in Cumberland County, and the fact that she wasn't afraid to speak her mind, the fact that she was a glowing light for all little girls like me who didn't even know we needed a light, just proves that she needs and deserves to be honored for her efforts. To be the first woman anything is marvelous, but she was a first on many, many levels. Cumberland County is a great place in which to live and grow, and people like Sylvia Allen paved the way for people like me. She put on programs, the Ebony Fashion Show. I had never seen one of those. I went to see every single one of them. I was in school with 3 of the older children. The younger ones weren't even born yet. But I remember being amazed that here is this woman who could field a basketball team with numbers of her children at that time, but yet she took the time to be a mother, a community leader, and I was impressed by that. I was amazed by that. I'm proud to have known her.
From the bottom of our hearts of the Allen family and our extended family, and it is a large one, thank you so much to the county commissioners and to the county bar for this incredible, incredible honor. I know I speak for all of the Allen children when I say there isn't a day that goes by that we aren't proud of her and inspired by her. And this historic venue and this historic honor is moving us to our hearts. All of our family wish that we could be here. We couldn't, but we are very, very grateful and particularly moved to know that the community that she lived in and she served in so many ways is also proud of her and inspired by her. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Janine, and this is my new dog, Buster. I'd love to take Buster to the dog park so he could get some exercise and make new friends. But before I do, I have to make sure he has a current rabies vaccination and that we get him a pet privilege license. It's important to make sure Buster's rabies vaccination stays up to date. North Carolina's state law requires that dogs, cats, and ferrets get vaccinated. The vaccination also makes sure pets are protected if they ever come into contact with a rabid animal. Preventing rabies in our community is a key mission for Cumberland County Animal Control. Along with the rabies vaccination, Cumberland County requires all dogs, cats, and ferrets 4 months and older get a license every year. If you don't license or vaccinate your pet, you could get a fine of $100 for each violation. There are several ways you can license your pet. You can go online to www.licencepet.com/Cumberland County NC. You can ask your vet to license your pet, or you can download a form from our website and mail it to Animal Control at 4704 Corporation Drive in Fayetteville. Or you can also go directly to the Animal Control facility like Buster and I are doing today. Animal Control has made it convenient and easy to remember to license your pet by making the license due at the same time as your pet's rabies vaccination. For pets that receive a 3-year vaccination, Animal Control will send a reminder that fees are due on the 2nd and 3rd year of the vaccine. Buster received his rabies vaccination last week, so now to get his license. Hi, I'm here to get a pet license application for my dog Buster. The process to license your pet is easy. Just fill out a pet license application. The application requires the basic information like the owner's contact info and details about your pet, like their name, age, breed, and color, as well as their rabies tag number and vet info. Then pay a fee of either $7 if your pet is spayed or neutered, or $25 if they're not. License fees are waived for residents 65 years old and older and for certified service animals. The annual fee you pay to license your pet helps support the work of Animal Control, including protecting the community against rabies, ensuring the welfare of animals, and promoting responsible pet ownership. Now that Buster has his rabies vaccine and his license, we can ensure we are following all state and county laws, and we can have a great day at the park. I love Buster, so I vaccinated and licensed him.
As the program director of the Care Center Family Violence Program, I'm here to support, to bring awareness to, and to advocate for survivors of domestic violence. Our mission is to end violence in homes. We want to help people establish and maintain healthy, nonviolent relationships, and to that end, we offer supportive environment, comprehensive services to individuals who have experienced intimate partner violence. One of the most important services, I believe, is our crisis hotline, and that number is 677-2532. We also have crisis intervention. For those fleeing violent situations, we have our emergency shelter that can be accessed through the crisis line, a women's support group in both Spanish and in English. We have a children's support group. We have a victim advocate. We also provide outreach and educational services to the community, and we have a Resolve program for the batterers. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It affects all ages, races, genders, and socioeconomic groups. My message to a victim is to know that we're here, we care, and they do not have to remain in a violent situation. We want the citizens of Cumberland County to be aware of their friends, their neighbors, their co-workers, and if they sense there's something wrong, to encourage them to contact the Care Center. That encouragement may make the difference in life or death. They can access the Care Center by calling the crisis line 677-2532 or the line to our office 677-2528.
Hear these names, remember these names. Amanda Williams, Cumberland County. Genesis Freeman, Cumberland County. Serenity Freeman, Cumberland County. Shalise Sutton, Cumberland County. Mark Lewis, Cumberland County. Glorimar Vega, Cumberland County. These individuals died between September 16th, 2016 and September 8th, 2017 in the state of North Carolina at the hands of those who they thought loved them. Let us take a moment to stand in silence as we remember their names.
Stay in the know when emergencies happen with Cumberland Alerts, our county-wide mass notification system. Cumberland Alerts provides you with critical information quickly. Sign up today for text, phone, or email alerts about severe weather, hazardous materials, evacuations, and more. Choose the type of alerts you want and how you want to receive them. Go to the Cumberland County website to sign up. Stay alert, stay safe with Cumberland Alerts.
Welcome to Cumberland Update, your source for information about Cumberland County news and events. I'm your host, Geneve Mankel. The Cumberland Disaster Recovery Coalition, in collaboration with Alliance Behavioral Healthcare and other community partners, presented Heart of Matthew Awards during a ceremony last month. The awards honored community heroes who went above and beyond the call of duty to help others during, before, and after Hurricane Matthew last year. CDRC Executive Director Yvonne Anton and Master of Ceremonies Gilbert Bays presented the awards. Heart of Matthew Award recipients were Cumberland County Animal Control for the efforts of employees to rescue flood-threatened animals at the shelter, as well as the rescue of 30 dogs and 3 cats from a pet boarding facility in downtown Fayetteville, and for assisting evacuated families with their pets during the hurricane. Stacy Leach and Andre Fennell for their efforts in rescuing 26 patients at the Alzheimer's-related care facility. Larry Gray for his life-saving efforts to rescue victims trapped in floodwaters and helping pull a person who fell in an open manhole. The Fayetteville Police Department's Rescue No. 2 unit for efforts to save several people who were trapped in vehicles caught in floodwaters on city streets. Cumberland County Department of Social Services for working at the Emergency Operations Center, for coordinating the work of relief agencies, and for working at emergency shelters. Second Harvest Food Bank's mobile food pantry for taking food and water to residents who did not have transportation. And the Cumberland Community Foundation for raising more than $400,000 to help with relief efforts. The Cumberland County Board of Commissioners also recognized Steve Rogers for his volunteerism and commitment to the CDRC, which he helped found in 2011. The CDRC is a long-term disaster recovery organization that helps county residents affected by state and federally declared disasters. For more information about CDRC, visit their website at cdrcnc.org. Are you interested in increasing your gardening knowledge and volunteering in our community? If so, consider applying for the Extension Master Gardener Volunteer Program. The Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Office will be offering training classes for Master Gardener volunteers every Thursday beginning January 11th and ending April 26th. The class will meet from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Auditorium located at 301 East Mountain Drive in Fayetteville. The application deadline is November 22nd and are available by calling the Extension Office at 910-321-6405 or by visiting the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension website at cumberland.ces.ncsu.edu. Cumberland County and the City of Fayetteville recently launched the Pathways for Prosperity initiative to improve economic mobility for citizens across the region. Pathways for Prosperity distributed a community member survey and will go over those results during a summit November 18th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Cumberland County Department of Social Services facility. During the summit, attendees will also analyze recent poverty data and map out a process for identifying key focus areas and resources to combat poverty in our community. The summit is open to anyone interested in a community conversation and action to address economic mobility for Fayetteville and Cumberland County residents. After the summit, a community revitalization task force will be assembled and a comprehensive action plan will be produced by mid-February. For more information about this initiative, visit pathwaysforprosperity.org. The Cumberland County Library and Information Center will hold 2 Let's Talk About It reading and discussion sessions in November. The discussions will center on race, identity, and American culture through the lens of African American literature. On November 14th, The Color Purple by Alice Walker will be discussed, and on November 28th, Your Blues Ain't Like Mine by B.B. Moore Campbell will be the topic. The program begins at 6 p.m. in the Pate Room at Headquarters Library. The library will also offer It's a Wrap, a winter reading and activity program from December 15th through January 15th. This program is a low-key way for readers of all ages to add fun to the winter months and win prizes. Pick up a reading log at any library branch, keep track of what you read, and turn in your log to be entered into a prize drawing. Learn more about these programs and more by visiting the library website at cumberland.lib.nc.us. Women in Cumberland County who are pregnant, have recently given birth, or who are breastfeeding an infant less than 12 months old may be eligible for the Women, Infants, and Children program, also known as WIC. Infants or children under 5 years old may also be eligible. To qualify for WIC, a participant's gross annual income must not exceed 185% of the poverty level. Anyone on Medicaid, food stamps, and Work First will meet the WIC income eligibility. Participants must also reside in North Carolina
and meet nutritional and medical criteria. Women enrolled in WIC not only receive supplemental foods, but receive valuable nutrition education and breastfeeding information and support. They also can get referrals to community and health agencies to help improve their diets. There are 3 WIC offices in Cumberland County to serve our residents. Those offices are located at the Department of Public Health, in Spring Lake, and Hope Mills. For more information on WIC office locations and hours, program eligibility, and information on how to apply, visit the Health Department website at co.cumberland.nc.us/health or call 910-433-3730. Thanks for watching this edition of Cumberland Update. If you would like more information about your county government, please visit our website, give us a call, or follow us on social media. Cumberland County, caring, committed community.
To be part of the Cumberland County government is a wonderful opportunity. I pride myself in that. To be able to serve the 328,000 citizens here of Cumberland County, it just makes me proud to be able to do that, be part of that.
In the 911 Center, we're also known as the first responders because we have the ability to give you life-saving instructions before any apparatus can arrive at your residence in case of emergency. We can help you get out of a house fire. We can help you get yourself to safety. We can help you deliver a child. We are here to help you while help is on the way.
I'm very proud to be a part of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. They do everything they can in their power to help the public in any situation. The Sheriff's Office also has many different sections within the agency. Every section strives to maintain a professional and proficient work environment to help the people. And the biggest thing for our agency is we want the citizens to know that when they call us, we are going to be there for them.
Cumberland County Animal Control serves the community in a number of ways. Our enforcement division, of course, is on the street enforcing ordinances, trying to keep both the people and the animals in our community safe. And then for the homeless or unwanted animals in our community, we provide the shelter for them where we can find them a new home, get them with another family. I'm proud of the way the community has supported us with their time and their donations. We have great volunteers and fosters that help make us successful in getting as many animals out of here as possible in a good way.
What our department does exceptionally well is work with the members of our community that have issues, whether it's a lawn issue from a residential perspective or an issue with their soybean crop on hundreds or thousands of acres. The work in cooperative extension, it allows you to work with young people. It allows you to work with senior citizens. It allows you to work with people in the prime of their life that are growing hundreds of acres. And so it's the perfect niche for me personally to apply what I've learned and hopefully help the community in that process.
We at the Planning and Inspections Department, our major focus is guiding orderly growth in the county, and on the inspections side of the Planning and Inspections Department, we provide code enforcement through local ordinances as well as ensuring that buildings meet the North Carolina Building Code.
G47. At the public library, we serve the public by providing traditional services that you would expect, by providing books and computers and internet access, but we also go beyond the four walls of the library and we provide access via story times and outreaches. We'll go out to nursing homes and do programs. We'll go into the public schools and provide programs as needed. And so I just love that we're able to show students and teachers and even adults in the community everything that the library can open up to them.
What it means to me to be a public servant is that you have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the people you contact on a daily basis. And you have an opportunity to give back of yourself to your community and to ensure those that you are serving are taken care of. And we don't take our job lightly. It's an honor and a privilege to give back to those service members who have given of themselves to this great nation, and just making sure that they provide the service that are required, and that we should go above and beyond to make sure that we exhaust all means in trying to get them benefits.
I am the customer service coordinator for the Cumberland County Tax Administration. We map, we appraise, we value, we do business listings, personal property listings, and we also collect for all the tax bills that we generate. We have many different programs to assist for people on lower incomes to help with their tax bills. We do listings for businesses. Wow, Cumberland County is an amazing agency to work for. It's very evident by the county manager and the county commissioners that they care about the employees. They've implemented so many different programs for us, you know, healthy eating, HOPE programs, Weight Watcher programs. There's many incentives that just tell you that they care about us. You know, I think being a public servant, you gotta love your job. You gotta love helping people. And to me, that's what it's all about. I love doing what I do every single day. People walking in, we make a difference for them either in a small way or a big way. It's not about being the public servant, it's just about doing what you feel in your heart is right for everybody that you can help.
Here at the Register of Deeds office, we do all highlights of your life, such as if you were born here in Cumberland County, you can come to us and get your birth certificate along with your children if they were born here. If your loved one has passed, you can get your death certificate with us. If you're a retired military and you want to put your original DD 214 on file, we do that here. If you want to get married, we do marriage license. If you've purchased a home, your deed here would be recorded. If you put a mortgage on that home, that deed of trust is also here. We just definitely pride ourselves in being able to help the citizens here of Cumberland County to get those small things that they need.
A lot of initiatives that are here in this community started here at DSS, and I'm very proud to be part of that. Our motto is Families Helping Families. Families Helping Families may involve food and nutrition, medical assistance, child care, support through child protective services, support through the adult services arena, elder abuse. There are many programs that families are not familiar with, and we make every opportunity to ensure that they know when they come in here what services they can apply for. I feel that everybody deserves an opportunity. We have to let them know that all is not over, that you do have the opportunity to succeed, and you may have to start here, but tomorrow you may be where you need to be. And I think that's one thing that we strive to ensure, that families understand that this may be a starting point, but it's not the end.
So some of the services that the health department provides is WIC, pharmacy, child health, immunizations. We have the STD clinic, we have women's health, which includes the teen clinic, we have health ed, we have child care coordination, and then we have environmental health as well. So to be a public servant obviously means to help people. I love getting to have a direct impact on the community. Again, we're not here for a bottom line like big corporations. We're really here to help the citizens of Cumberland County.
I guess I'm most proud of being part of an organization that prides itself in the services that it provides our citizens, and also the people that provide those services that work for Cumberland County. And I guess I'm most proud of that, and that we make a difference every day.
So that we can talk about truly historic situation as it relates to the weather. Record levels of flooding along rivers and creeks.
Well, you know, on the anniversary of Hurricane Matthew, I think it's important for us to look back and see what we did right, what we did wrong, and how we can prepare the next time. The one thing I want our citizens to know is you can never be over-prepared.
October 8th, 2016 was one of the few occasions that I've really been intimidated by weather. And that challenge came at 3:30 in the morning when my staff called me and told me that the barn was flooding and that the shelter was in danger of flooding. I've never felt so helpless in my life.
I think when it really hit me deep is when the representatives from FEMA came down. He said, this isn't a 100-year flood, this isn't even a 500-year flood. We're talking biblical proportions. And I think that's when it really hit me, what kind of tragedy we could be looking at.
In terms of disasters I've experienced in my lifetime, probably the worst was Hurricane Floyd. And at that time I was working in a coastal community, and we were cut off from the north to south and the west for about 3 days due to floodwaters. So Hurricane Matthew reminded me a lot of that situation.
Many citizens, long-term native individuals of Cumberland County, never have seen this type of impact in their entire lifetime.
There was so much loss in this storm. There was some people lost their homes, some people lost their jobs, some people lost pets, but some people lost their lives. And we have to be cognizant of our responsibilities of this. We sat in the EOC many times hoping that there was no lives lost, and it brings a shudder down to all of us when you hear that story and it comes through.
Hurricane Matthew was very catastrophic. We saw numbers in calls and rain that we've never seen before. For like rainfall, 15 to 18 inches over parts of Cumberland County. There were over 1,300 rescues from swiftwater teams. We received over 8,300 911 calls just in the Cumberland County 911 Center. At one point we had over 506 people in our shelters, with over 1,400 different people registered 2 weeks of the event. Many areas were flooded that have never seen flooding before, along Rockfish Creek, Little Rockfish Creek, Manchester, as well as some of the tributaries leading from western Cumberland County down to the Cape Fear River. There was over 1,100 homes damaged throughout Cumberland County and the city of Fayetteville, as well as over 150 businesses that were damaged during that time.
Infrastructure was impacted, not only transportation, but our
There's always that chance of a special meeting. Hey, Amy.
Yes, sir.
Tracy was mentioned he wants to go negotiate this next contract.
Hey, he can go line by line. He's gotten really good at that.
Tracy, for Christmas, I'm gonna give you a magnifying glass with a light on.
All right, the meeting will come back to order. You give it to him.
Did we ever have order? We had order. Did we ever have order? Order. Madam Chairman, make motion to adjourn. Motion to come out of closed session. Motion to come out of closed session.
Second, those in favor? Unanimous.
Motion to adjourn.
Those in favor? Unanimous. Is this mine?
You had 3 or 4 of them going today.
I had 3 or 4. I killed the thing.